Since becoming the NHTSA Administrator in January 2010, David Strickland has been a powerful voice for highway safety across this country and internationally. At NHTSA, he oversees a broad range of vehicle safety standards, investigating possible safety defects in vehicles and establishing fuel economy standards. Most familiar to us, he leads the agency's efforts to reduce the dangers of driving under the influence of alcohol or while distracted, and also riding while restrained. Two other priorities of his are pedestrian safety and the awareness of the dangers of leaving young children unattended in hot cars. On a personal note, David has worked closely with the safety community to continue reducing traffic fatalities and injuries. His accessibility and down-to-earth attitude have resulted in a strong relationship between NHTSA and GHSA and all the safety advocates that are here today. On a personal note, I had dinner with him last week, and he told me something rather interesting, and if you're from California, you'll really appreciate this. Stanford University only lets in the best of the best of the best, and nobody turns down Stanford University. But guess what? David Strickland did. I don't know, I find that fascinating. I'm sure my fellow folks from California will too. It is now my extreme pleasure and honor to present to you NHTSA Administrator David Strickland.
Well, good afternoon, Lifesavers. It is not, y'all can give yourselves a hand. It's so good to see all of you here. This is our collective work and our celebration. Please give yourselves a hand. I was telling folks that this really is one of my favorite things that I do in this job. We work so hard throughout every single hour of every single day, of every single month, of every single year, trying to keep people safe. And frankly, our job is one where, frankly, we deal with the situations that we don't want to deal with. We deal with the situations where we lose people. We lose thousands of people. We lose tens of thousands of people every single year. So we really do not have very many opportunities to step back and think about how we have succeeded in some spaces, what we have done to make America a safer place. And this ceremony and the Public Service Awards that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration gives out to passionate leaders every single year is our moment to recognize that our blessed mission has borne fruit. So when I do this with the utmost pride and happiness. And it is our moment to really think about the work that we have done and the work that we need to continue doing. This particular year, 30th anniversary of Lifesavers, it really is sort of a very special moment. And I am just incredibly blessed to be the person sitting in the seat for this incredibly special occasion. You know, 1982 doesn't seem that long ago, but 30 years of progress has meant a lot of things to a lot of people. And for me, to be able to share what we all do to an audience of people that live one of the best missions in government and in public life and in private life, to think about what we have gotten done since 1982 and what we need to keep on doing for the next 30 years. It really is a time for us to sort of think, this is where we were and this is where we are. I had a really tough time thinking about what my remarks are going to be today because we really do have a number of challenges. And and my prepared remarks is definitely talking about a lot of the programmatic things that we're doing at the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and all the hard work they're putting in. But I have a couple of things to report out before I begin, and take a personal indulgence, if you will. And then we're going to sort of talk about, frankly, not so much about what I have on my written remarks about, but, things that I've sort of thought about over the past couple of days. On a positive note, which took a lot of work on my behalf and a lot of nerves, I made a promise to Lifesavers last year that I was going to get my child passenger safety seat certification before I came back to see you people. And, hold on, there's a build-up here. There's a build-up. Now, I have to appreciate the hard work of all the folks in CPS that put together the curriculum and Safe Kids Worldwide that does such a fantastic job in getting this program taught and run for us at NHTSA. And making a promise like that, I know that everybody that works in child passenger safety, y'all do not forget. So I figured I better try to get my certification done as quickly as possible. In the instance that I did not pass the first time, I would have a chance to try to take it again so that I can get it done right. So I blocked 4 days from my schedule, and that's not necessarily the easiest thing. And I put my head down, and I was incredibly nervous because failure really wasn't an option. But I had fantastic teachers. Emily Crown reminded me that when I made that promise, she was the first person that came up to me, gave me her class schedule. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to work it out so I could take her schedule. Bob Wall actually ran the class for me. But I want to, thank Emily, because she has been a dogged champion of child passenger safety. And frankly, the reason why I knew that I had to follow through, Emily's right up the road. And so I had to get that done. So, Lifesavers, I'm happy to report that I am amongst the 34,000 of you that are now child safety seat technicians. I now go around the Department of Transportation like I'm a magician or a clown. Whenever somebody has a baby or a baby shower, they always bring me up. It's like, the NHTSA administrator is going to do a car seat training for you. I bring balloons. I do weddings, too. So, thinking about today's remarks, it's been a really tough time for us in highway safety. We are asked to do more and more with less and less. I know there's days where I look at my team, my staff at headquarters, my team around the country, and I admire their strength and their patience and their perseverance, because frankly, some of the things that I have asked them to do, that the Secretary has asked them to do, the things that, frankly, the administration has asked us to do, it's been very hard, very hard. And sometimes it's easy to get a little dispirited, because you think that just when you think that the job couldn't get any harder, it does. So originally, my speech was going to be about why we serve, because it really is something that I've had questions about. Am I doing the best that I could do? Am I committing enough energy and time and passion to this? Am I being the best leader and supporter of my team? Am I being the best example of being a leader in highway safety to folks around the country? And why am I doing this in my heart of hearts? Why? And then at the opening plenary yesterday, hearing Debbie Hersman and Jan Withers, I made the decision that I'm not going to talk about that, because, I know why we all serve. Because it is a calling. And despite how difficult it is, despite how many hours that we spend, no matter how resource challenged we all may be, it just doesn't matter. Because it is our calling. It's in our marrow. I can tell you that my path to being NHTSA administrator was not the most logical one. I would have never anticipated me being in the position I am in today, and probably a number of the prior 13 administrators of NHTSA can probably tell you exactly the same thing. But I will tell you to a person that I deal with and former administrators, none of us are more than one very small sidestep away from this community. Because even if it wasn't your calling when you got the job, it became your calling once you started it. And that's a number of people in this room. However you came to this mission, you've come to it and you stay there day after day. So I frankly thought that why we serve was not necessarily the right space for our conversation. A better space was building upon what we've done. And we've built upon what we do because we stand on the shoulders of champions, of people who asked the very questions that Chairman Hersman talked about in her speech. Why can't we do this? Why don't we have these expectations? And it takes a lot of bravery, a lot of hard work, and a lot of will to not only ask that question, but then to be able to think about what that answer is. One person in particular I want to acknowledge and ask for a brief moment of silence for is Dr. Jeffrey Augenstein. Dr. Augenstein's work in trauma laid the foundation for the Crash Injury Research and Engineering Network, or SIREN. And he led the SIREN team for a number of years. Dr. Augenstein passed this past February. But his work, it's transformational. Transformational in how we think about emergency medical services and treatment, how we think about engineering and design, how, frankly, we all do our jobs at NHTSA, and, frankly, other constituencies around the country with the SIREN network. So I want to take a moment of silence for Dr. Augenstein, one of the greatest lifesavers we ever had. Thank you. And thinking about what we build upon. I'm not going to give you all the numbers and the stats. I mean, I think everybody has been through enough sessions and have heard enough talks about where we are. But we have been reaping a benefit over the past handful of years of incredible success in highway safety. Since 2006, we have lost 25% fewer people. 25%. Because we have made down payments. We have made process changes. We have made behavioral program changes on a size and a scope, frankly, that nobody thought would be possible a handful of years ago. But we're going to get to a place where we're not going to see these dramatic declines in injuries and fatalities that we've seen over the past few years, which is a reason why I think Chairman Hersman's words were frankly so moving to me, that we need to begin thinking about what we need to do next, while at the same time continuing the work that we're doing. When Jan shared her story about her daughter yesterday, I don't know about anybody else in this room, I was about to cry. And it's that moment when you think about those 33,000 that we lost in 2010. Those are individuals, those are families that are irrevocably changed. And it's women like Jan or founding mom Candy Lightner or the moms that I see and I talk to when I do the heat stroke events that I've been doing around the country. People that have the strength to power our movement, to share their loss every single day, to help all of us move the needle, to make sure that they are not going to see another family suffer their same fate. And it means that we're going to have a lot of challenges. And, you know, Chairman Hersman talked about the airline industry and the changes technologically and how they were able to sort of address and having the safest period ever. And we in highway safety have probably one of the most difficult jobs in policy and government, because we are a part of a mode of transportation which is also a consumer product. It's a consumer product that is allowed to be driven by people that could be as young as 15 years old across a country of hundreds of millions of miles of roadway with different terrains, different skill levels, different cars, different technology, different policies about where you can drink alcohol, different policies about whether you should wear a seatbelt. And how do we deal with all this stuff? And it's sort of two pieces. Chairman Hersman's right. Technology is a way forward for us. The driver alcohol detection system for safety is our opportunity. Our partners in the automobile manufacturing community have been the best partners we could ever hope to have, setting shoulder to shoulder looking for that opportunity that one day a car will stop a person who's over the limit from driving. That day is coming. And I will tell everybody in this room, and I'll happily admit it, when I was working in the Senate and the team from MAD and from the Auto Alliance and other folks came and told me about this thing, I thought that they were fools. Straight up fools. An impossible technology, something that would never be accepted by the American public. It is fool's gold to go down this path. And there is nothing more delicious for the Auto Alliance and a lot of other folks that worked on this than to make me wrong. And they did. I have to thank them for that. And I have to thank Muslim Against Drunk Driving for being the soul and the force of trying to keep moving forward to help us get the additional resources moving so we can do that. But there is a chance at a day of having a technology that can help support what we're trying to do in changing behavior. We want people to make the right decisions behind the wheel. We want to make sure that if you can drink legally, that you make the right decision before you get behind the wheel. But if we have some people that decide not to do that, the car serves as the backstop and won't let you. That's a real opportunity for us. The other thing in technology, thinking about automated driving systems or vehicle-to-vehicle communications, systems where, when fully implemented, it can address up to 80% of crash scenarios with non-impaired drivers. A car that can even come and stop you from entering an intersection when somebody's run a red light, and a number of other situations and scenarios. Technology is a pipeline and a way forward to, frankly, to serve the problems of our lesser being. But it isn't the thing that we can solely rely on. Our work in behavior, our work in research, to be able to make a cultural change in safety. People like Dr. Augenstein and their work, how do we implement that? How do we change the safety debate? How do we change culture? Because you can't technologize yourself out of everything. You can't. You can't. Individual mobility is expensive and too important. There's too many things that we have to think about as we maintain the freedoms that people want to have. So we not only have to look towards that technological future of having the car protect you, regardless of a bad decision or a driving mistake. We have to keep pushing. We have to keep thinking about what is that next program that's going to reach that parent to make sure they don't forget a child in the car. What is that next campaign that's going to reach that teenage boy to not go tearing down the road at high rates of speed? What is that next campaign that's going to convince the other 16% of people to wear a seatbelt? That is our challenge. And frankly, we are now able to reap our past work over the past 30 years and our work since 2006 to get the number down to 33,000. But as we're looking towards that future, we got to keep working on what we're doing right now. And our partnership together, the folks that are up here that are receiving the awards and everybody out in this audience that's a lifesaver, we may all have differences of opinion on occasion. But we all believe in the same goal. So, Jan's call of getting back to basics, it sort of flows back to this very notion of what we continue to build upon from that foundation. What works? Where do we apply our resources? How do we proceed in a way that we can save as many people as we can with the resources, the time that we have, which are both way too short? But that's our chance. And when we think about how we go about our jobs every single day, whether you build a car, whether you teach a new mom how to put in a car safety seat, whether you're teaching an older driver new techniques, whether you're thinking about the next great safety technology, whether you are the advertising executive that comes up with the next great campaign that's convincing people to put on their seatbelt every trip, all of the things that we're talking about. Law enforcement officers trying to figure out a way, how do we balance the workload of trying to deal with crime and social ills and still keep doing traffic safety? We all have our opportunities. I want us to celebrate what we've done. But we have 30 years in the bank, and we're getting results. But I couldn't agree with Jan more from her speech. We need to come together. We need to get back to basics. We need to begin to put in the investment and the time so we can get to that next great leap. And it's hard work. And all I have to say is that I'm pot committed to it. I'm willing to go anywhere. Look, I go to Alaska in the dead of winter. I come to Florida in the dead of summer. I'll get on a plane in the New York Minute to fly across the country, do a meeting, and get back on the plane and come back home and keep back working at headquarters. I'm not going to stop because I know you guys aren't either. I'm going to leave off on this, though, so we can actually get to actually thanking the people that really are the giants of the shoulders that we stand on in our successes. As you know, this is an election year. This is not going to be a political statement, but this is going to be a thank you. Because while I do own things, my grandma always told me, you don't ask for something, you own it. So I have an ownership that I will be your administrator in 2013, but it isn't promised to anybody. So I will say this. If this is my last time at Lifesavers as your administrator, I want to thank all of you. The 3 years that I've come to Lifesavers has changed me as a professional and as a man. So, I will always be amongst you. I will always be here in the crowd. I'll be part of the former administrators that are going to be, the biggest cheerleaders that you can ever possibly see. But I didn't want to take the opportunity and let that opportunity slip to say thank you if I can't thank you again in person. So, this really is our time. One of my associate administrators, Dr. Jeff Michael, I know a lot of people know him in this room, he says that this really is the golden age of NHTSA and our relationship with our partners. And I think it's a high honor for that to be said, because it is a collective that we all do this together. We all cry together, we all laugh together, and we all succeed together. So with that, I'm going to go over here, student body right. I'm going to pass out some awards to some of the most fantastic people in highway traffic safety. Lifesavers, God bless you all, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Administrator. I'm Terry Savon, the Regional Administrator for NHTSA's Region 4 office in Atlanta, Georgia. And I want to tell you, Administrator, I couldn't be prouder than being a NHTSA employee working for you than I am today. Thank you. It's my pleasure to tell you about our distinguished honorees today as they receive their NHTSA Awards for Public Service from NHTSA Administrator David Strickland. The first NHTSA Award for Public Service goes to Nevada State Senator Shirley Breeden of Henderson, Nevada. Senator Breeden is one of the many who advocates for traffic safety laws following a personal tragic experience. In 2011, an impaired driver hit and killed her father just 4 days shy of his 83rd birthday. The crash also left her mother with severe head trauma, hearing, vision, and memory loss. The crash happened shortly after Nevada's cell phone bill passed, one that Senator Breeden had authored and tirelessly advocated for. The senator now cares for her mother, but knows that when issues such as drunken and drug driving come up, her father's memory is sure to influence her actions. Thank you, Senator. Our next honoree is Ludlum, the creators and producers of the popular children's show Chuggington. Accepting on behalf of Ludlum is their chairman, Richard Rothkopf. NHTSA established a relationship with Ludlum in 2011, and since its launch last October, over 350,000 parents and children have pledged to think safe, ride safe, and be safe. Ludlum has developed public service announcements focusing on child passenger safety, pedestrian safety, and bus safety. They have a dedicated website and print and online advertising. Congratulations to Ludlum, and thank you for your efforts to keep children safe. Kevin Green, Chief of Ground Safety for the 436th Airlift Wing Safety Office at Dover Air Force Base, is being recognized for implementing many of NHTSA's traffic safety campaigns, including Click It a Ticket, Distracted Driving, and Region 3's Checkpoint Strike Force on the base. Mr. Green is a member of Delaware's Office of Highway Safety Corporate Partner Programs and is a civilian working at Dover Air Force Base. The base has conducted numerous seatbelt checks at their main gate, and the results now show a belt use rate of 98.6%. Mr. Green has helped conduct many traffic safety work group meetings on pedestrian safety awareness and other traffic safety programs targeting young airmen who are most at risk. Thank you. Donna Diagna, the Executive Director of the National Association of State Emergency Medical Services Officials, is being honored today for her extraordinary commitment to enhancing nationwide traffic safety through her efforts to improve emergency medical services system. Ms. Gaynor's tireless promotion of emergency responder safety and her inspirational guidance has stimulated a more effective and extensive collaboration among highway safety, public health, transportation, and EMS. Ms. Gaynor could not be with us today, but accepting on her behalf is Mary Hedges, Program Manager of the Association. Washington State Patrol Chief John R. Batiste is being recognized for his outstanding support of Washington State's Target Zero teams. These teams are a partnership between the Washington State Traffic Safety Commission and the Washington State Patrol and Washington Association of sheriffs, and police chiefs. The chief provided troopers to work full-time on dedicated DUI patrols aimed at eliminating drunk driving in the state's 3 most populous counties. The results showed a reduction of 70 deaths in the project area over the previous 5-year average. Accepting on behalf of the chief is Sergeant J.P. McAuliffe of the patrol. Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated is honored today for its volunteer efforts with NHTSA Region 6. This working relationship began in 2011 in Louisiana with the traffic safety outreach to over 100,000 African Americans attending the Bayou Classic football rivalry between Southern and Grambling universities. This partnership has grown to other historically black colleges and universities and to the Boley Rodeo in Oklahoma. They have provided traffic safety awareness information at many venues throughout the years, and accepting for the sorority is Brenda Smith, International Program Coordinator for the sorority. Colonel Kenneth Markle has had an illustrious public service career spanning 40 years, and his career has primarily been focused and dedicated to traffic safety. Colonel Markle served as Director of the Ohio Department of Public Safety for 4 years, following a 29-year career with the Ohio State Highway Patrol, and he served as their superintendent from 2000 to 2003. He has published articles in national law enforcement periodicals and serves as an advisor to the International Association of Chiefs of Police, Highway Safety, and Homeland Security Committees. He continues to provide leadership to advance traffic safety. Sonia Atkins, coordinator of the Greater Sacramento Safe Kids Coalition, is honored today for her efforts to get California's booster seat bill passed into law last October. She spent 4 years researching child passenger safety epidemiology cost-benefit analysis to assist in the development of the legislation. The bill had failed twice to become law, but it passed in 2011 and requires children up to age 8 to ride in a booster seat. Because of Sonia's energy, knowledge, and professionalism, child passenger safety is stronger in California. Captain Bill Heisel of the Shawnee, Kansas Police Department has been a strong traffic safety advocate in Kansas for several years and is currently working to expand the data-driven approaches to crime and traffic safety initiative in Kansas and nationally. Captain Heisel is the operations captain for the Shawnee Police Department and has been assigned to coordinate their DDAX operation. Lowell Porter is our next honoree. He is the former director of the Washington State Traffic Safety Commission. He is a proven traffic safety and law enforcement leader at the local, state, and national levels. Mr. Porter served as director of the Washington State Traffic Safety Commission for 7 years and managed a budget of approximately $20 million a year, while overseeing a decline in the state fatality rate from 1.17 to 0.80, the lowest ever attained in the state. He is now the coordinator of the National Law Enforcement Liaison Program for the Governor's Highway Safety Association. Stephen Talpin, Chief Executive Officer of the National Partnership on Alcohol Misuse and Crime, is being recognized for his contributions and dedication to law enforcement officers and prosecutors in removing impaired drivers from our highways. Mr. Talpin is organizing an intensive supervision program in Miami-Dade, Florida, similar to the 24/7 program in South Dakota. Mr. Talpin served as a prosecutor fellow for NHTSA and the National Association of Prosecutor Coordinators. Rhode Island State Representative Anastasia Williams is being recognized for her sponsorship of the primary seatbelt bill in the Rhode Island House. The bill passed both houses and was signed into law by the governor last June. Representative Williams couldn't be with us today. Accepting on her behalf is Colonel Richard Sullivan, the Rhode Island Law Enforcement Liaison. Several of our honorees could not be with us today due to scheduling conflicts. They are Pennsylvania State Representative Catherine Watson, who is being recognized for her leadership in enhancing teen driver safety and the safety of all highway safety users in the Keystone State. Rhode Island State Senator John Tassoni also sponsored primary seatbelt legislation in Rhode Island. The law was enacted on June 30th, 2011. Dr. Stuart Wang, Director of the International Center for Automotive Medicine at the University of Michigan, is also being honored for his work at the center. Monthly meetings are held with automotive and safety engineers to review crash cases with first responders, surgeons, and other medical personnel to review crash sequences of events, including medical care, in an effort to facilitate both improvements in vehicle safety and synergistic research between medical specialists and automotive engineers. Their awards will be presented them at a later time. Let's one more time give the honorees another round of applause for their great work. I just have a couple of housekeeping gifts before I let you go, and I'm going to go off script a little bit just for 1 second, if it's all right. I know Judy Hammond will kill me, administrator, and whatever, but I really think, because I am the Region 4 administrator here in Atlanta, I really want to take this opportunity to thank the Florida employees of the Department of Transportation for their excellent hard work in helping Lifesavers pull this off this year. Thank you very much. So these housekeeping notes that I have is, let's once again say thanks to our sponsors who are seated up front here and without who Lifesavers couldn't be. Tomorrow we will be sending you off in style as we say farewell to our gracious host, the state of Florida, and welcome to our 2013 partners, the state of Colorado. And remember, the next session begins at 2 o'clock. Thanks all.